Now, China's Sinopec corporation has inched closer to victory over Glencore in their battle for Chevron's South Africa and Botswana assets, saying the South African government favored its bid. South Africa's Competition Commission recommended the roughly $900 million transaction with Sinopec be approved with certain conditions. South Africa's government later announced that it had reached an agreement with Sinopec on public interest issues and that the transaction was pending final approval. However, analysts say Sinopec could still lose out. In October, the minority shareholders in Chevron's South African subsidiary exercised preemption rights following delays to the Sinopec deal and brought in Glencore, which placed a $937 million bid. At stake is a 75% share in Chevron's South African subsidiary that runs a 100,000 barrels per day oil refinery in Cape Town, a lubricant plant in Durban, and 820 petrol stations and other oil storage facilities. And Moodys assumes the Angolan government does not intend to default on its debt after ambiguous wording in official statements. Angola this month unveiled plans to restructure its foreign debt and devalue the Kwanza currency after the collapse in global oil prices from mid-2014 had battered its economy. The exchange rate changes in Africa's second-largest oil producer garnered most attention, with investors saying the Kwanza needed to fall further before it reached fair value. Moodys said in a report that a new Kwanza regime and the government's desire to renegotiate debt underscored existing pressures on Angola's credit ratings, which include falling economic growth and liquidity risks. It said it expects Angola's debt to GDP ratio to rise and for higher inflation to weigh on growth, although it says the country's current account was likely to improve over time. And Kenya Airways has launched ticketing ahead of the inaugural flight to the United States. The new long-haul route is part of an effort to revive the airline's fortunes after it came close to collapse.
Kenya Airways expected daily direct flights to the United States that it launches for the first time in October to boost annual revenue by 10% from 2019. The carrier, which is 7.8% owned by Air France-KLM, has started taking bookings for the flights to and from New York that will carry 234 passengers each way on a Boeing 787 Dreamliner plane.
We're opening sales of the first non-stop flight from Nairobi to the USA, which means that as of now, as of this morning, you can buy tickets to go to New York, and all the US market, all the people from New York, but not only New York, can buy tickets to fly from JFK to Jomo Kenyatta.
US-bound passengers from Kenya must now change planes in Europe or the Gulf on a journey that can take 20 hours or more. Kenya has long wanted to fly direct to the United States, but Kenyan carriers were only granted US security clearance for the route in February 2017 after a major refurbishment of facilities at the main Nairobi airport. The new route is part of an effort to revive the airline's fortunes after it came close to collapse, leading to a $2 billion financial restructuring in November that included a government bailout which shrank Air France-KLM stake.
This is roughly this is 10% of our. This is going to increase 2019 revenues by roughly 10% of what we have today.
The Chief Executive Officer, Sebastian Mikos, says the new route aims to encourage more business and tourist travel with the United States, which he said was the biggest source of visitors to Kenya. Mikos, who was hired from Lot Polish Airlines last June to help turn around the carrier, said the direct flight would also create about 150 new jobs at Kenya Airways. Kenya Airways shares, which have tripled in value since the November restructuring, jumped 5.9% to 17.15 shillings on Thursday.